America's tariff level is at that maximum, or whether it's too low or too high to reach that maximum. If Trump's other goal is to increase the U.S. tax revenues, and people are right, tariffs are a form of tax. So again, this is something we have to observe over slightly longer period. And I think there's some unfair criticism against these tariff policies. I do believe at least the strategic vision of Trump's tariff war is on the right track. Because I do think reindustrialization is vital for America's future. But some people are blaming, for example, the exchange rate and devaluation of the dollar on Trump. I think that's unfair because we know that the exchange rate of the US dollar is based on two critical things. The first one is the credibility of the United States financial institutions, and that's being eroding because of the US mounting debt. I don't think Trump is solely responsible for that. And also, I don't think any short-term Trump policies could correct or reverse course for that. So that's the first issue. The second factor into the exchange rate are basically your interest rates set by the Fed, which of course Trump has a strong incentive to push to lower the interest rate, but so far the Fed hasn't been responding as fast or as effectively or aggressively as Trump would have liked. And the second factor is actually the other central banks, their policy. And if you look at the various central banks around the world, measuring the exchange rate, you're going to see that a lot of economies over the past few years has been lowering the interest rate because most of major economies in the world are not doing so great. And everybody has incentive to lower interest rate to push about more growth. But if you measure, for example, the US dollar's purchasing power against major commodities and things like gold, for example, you're going to see a continued devaluation of US dollars against commodities, but that's also a historic trend. And it doesn't also happen alone with the US dollar. It happens over all major currencies. So that's the first part I would like to talk about. Maybe that's slightly fairer to assess whether Trump's policy is working in terms of tariffs. And I think the answer is yes to be seen. The second part is whether Trump's tariffs are an effective tool in terms of geopolitical maneuvering and leverage. And I think it's a yes and no. Many people mentioned, because we're talking about soybeans, many people mentioned China. And China is in a very unique position when it comes to US foreign policies, because from the Chinese perspective, people don't understand tariffs as a simple tick for tack, as a raising stakes on, for example, a poker table. People in China look at tariffs from the perspective of leverage, which is if, for example, US starts to restrict Chinese import, would China have alternative markets? If US, for example, start to limit the amount of soybeans or making it more difficult for China to purchase soybeans or forcing China to have to retaliate for soybeans, would China be have alternatives to satisfy soybean
Remember, that's what
demands. And clearly, the agricultural goods is not a very high barrier to entry industry, right? As people are pointing out, the global supply market for soybeans is quite abundant. You have Russia, you have Brazil, Argentina, and many other markets were able to supply soybeans because of vast amount of arable land, which is actually why the United States enjoys such a competitive advantage on agricultural goods. So in that sense, soybeans is one of the areas that the U.S. has very little leverage over China. If you look at other industries, for example, semiconductor, then over the past decade, you can see that U.S. did enjoy quite a bit of leverage over China. But that kind of leverage is still waning over time because China, as a result of these tariff wars,
Hello. Hello. Hi, Knuckles.
Domestic semiconductor industry and to a great effect.
What
So
up,
all
Johnny
these
boy?
tariff wars
Hello.
being used as leverage against China,
What are you doing, Joe?
I would say is
I'm
that
waiting
the
for my
Trump's
cheese
leadership
pizza
team,
with
together
garlic. Big, medium,
every
well.
congressperson
Are you
in the
listening
United
to Wake
States,
I'm listening
they
to Tiger and the
vastly
Gary Baumgarten
misunderstand
bullshit show with
where
Marshall Fakin,
leverage
Stinkin'
come
Rankin,
from
that fucking
in terms
faggot
of
in his
trade.
cheetah
So
jacket.
that aspect of Trump's tariff war has been an abject failure. However, if you take China aside and look at all those vassal states, by that I mean the allies that Trump has been negotiating these trade pacts with, you can see that there
Wait,
has
John,
been a
did you see
great
that
success
Amir's got a
over,
room
for
open?
example, the European
I'm
Union.
blocked on all
over
these accounts.
Korea,
I'd have to go
Japan,
downstairs.
South Asian
I
countries,
gave you access to
and
new
many
accounts.
other
I know,
countries,
but those
because
actually don't
in
work
those
that long,
places,
and those numbers don't always
America
work.
does
No,
enjoy
they work long.
a very
Okay, so
large
you gotta
leverage
scroll
over them.
down a little bit and get an older
Not
number,
only
because
just
the new
based on
numbers,
trade
everybody's trying to use
imbalances,
them at
but
the same
also
time.
based
Yeah.
on the
Oh, I
fact
see.
So
that
just scroll down a couple
there's a lot of
days back or
countries
even a
that are
week.
very dependent
Get one that's like a
on
week old, nobody
political
uses
and
this.
defense on the
Well,
United
Clubhouse
States.
has a way to detect
And
that those numbers
America
are no
is
good
able
numbers.
to extract
No,
a
so the
favorable
reason you
trade
get
deal
kicked off
because
is
of
because
those
somebody's trying to
dependencies.
sign into it.
So in that front,
Once
I
you're
think
Mm.
So
the
once you're
Trump's
already on, they
tariff
get a verification code. As soon
has
as they
been
put it in,
a
it kicks
major
you off.
success. So
Mm.
if
Kinda
you
like
put
old
that in
school,
a
like
larger
DSL, you know?
perspective,
Dick sucking lips?
coupled with
Yeah, DSL,
the
like
very
somebody
few
picks up the phone while
days
you're on the
old,
internet and it
with
kicks
a
you off the
very
internet.
fresh new report
Oh.
on U.S.
Did you hear what I
strategic
said?
focus. One of the
Yeah,
announcements
Dick
made
Suckerlips.
by the recent report is that the U.S. now
Well,
realizes it's giving
I
up
don't really care who
systems
I'm not really
of
recording
maintaining
phones
a global
anymore because
hegemony,
whenever I do that, people
everywhere,
complain against my
but will
YouTube accounts,
strengthen
and then YouTube takes action.
its relationship with
But
its
recording
traditional
audio
allies,
isn't a
which is
problem.
exactly what
But
Trump's
recording
tariffs have
the
demonstrated.
PTRs is a
It's
problem
the
apparently,
limits of its effectiveness. So I think
and it's all
the
pointless
United States
anyways. I mean,
realizes just by trade or
Marshall
military
Rankin is a fucking
alone,
loser.
it is not able to continue to force China into a
Like I said, why don't you
submission
ever go to
in,
critical
more
thinking
specific.
forum and
But
voice your
having
opinion
realized
to Gary
that,
Baumgarten and Marshall
a
Stankin'
strategic
Rankin?
shift and
Oh god. Make my stomach turn right now just thinking about even on that.
They kick me every single time. No making fun of Marshall Stankin' Rankin. Right. Makes that I have a friend that likes to say, got it. It's a little bit like saying, right. Got it?
Got it.
Got it.
Got it.
Got it.
Well, I'm
Okay,
gonna go take a big
wait,
old
hold
beer right
on.
now,
I'm
guys.
used to, hold on. Say what now?
No, it's safe. I'll listen.
So McZed,
I'll have a doctor check that out.
McZed,
What's up?
you are a debt attorney. Do you think that, how do you view the national debt? I mean, you don't think there will be a austerity or, not austerity, but do you think there will be a debt jubilee? How do you deal with, do you just keep adding to it and just keep going because the rest of the world everyone's operating off of the same currency system essentially because it's all relative, it's global. Meaning like, we're not a banana republic yet, but if we do become a banana republic, other current banana republics will just become super banana republics.
I think that debt is a certain kind of a social problem.
Mm-hmm.
That it's part of social cohesion. People rely on each other. They have faith and trust and credit with each other. But that naturally humans err more than they succeed. So even though we try to secure debt and we want every debt to be repaid, they don't. And I think the measure of like a civil society is how you deal with bankruptcy. Bankruptcy itself being like a protection to avoid the debtors' prisons they had in like Victorian England. That's like one insight. But there is just like a broader macro problem of all the debt accumulating and continuing to roll over. So I really do hold by a jubilee. I think they tried to deal with it by like a stimulus. They tried to do a more convoluted solution. They said like, there's too much debt, so just give people more money. That'll devalue the debt by recycling the money. But the truth is you just need to cancel the debt, which again, is a legal issue. The only way debt gets recovered is because of the court's recognition of it. The court says we're no longer recognizing debt issued or due by such and such date on whatever criteria. The debt ends, and you get the plus of a year of rest for the world. They get to know what it's like to live without debt. And then, by the way, here's the other thing. Like, if you're really terrified of this debtless world, the debt continues after the Jubilee. The Jubilee just resolves the past debts that have been holding people down. And then they're going to find new ways to hold themselves down. And new innovators will benefit off of their indebtedness.
Well, I don't know. That's like saying nothing, actually, because it doesn't change the pre-existing set of conditions, even if you wipe the debt. And they're not going to wipe student loan debt. They're not going to wipe mortgage debt. They'll wipe the national deficit or the national debt. But one way to do that is to just take from the population. Like your Jubilee might not be this free for all. They might just say, oh, okay, hey, 25% of all 401ks.
Yeah, no, my debt forgiveness takes from the creditor. The creditors anticipate returns. That's what they're trading on. That's the value that puffs them up. I would be devaluing them. I'd say you thought you were going to get $1 million, billion, $1 trillion over the next 50 years. Turns out you get zero, and you have until 2 years to leave.
Okay, so the U.S. stock market total market cap of all stocks combined, let's say it's 200 trillion, and let's say the total debt that all those corporations hold, let's say it's 50 trillion. I don't know these numbers, just top of my head. And then you have all the private loans, all the student loans, all the mortgages, all the credit card debt. So what my point is if you cancel, let's say, $10 trillion in debt, you can expect $10 trillion in the stock market plus in market cap to immediately disappear. So it always comes out in basically in the retirements. And so it's not what people think it is. The debt jubilee will just mean that the people who thought they had a retirement have less to spend in retirement. That's all it really means.
And then everyone is debt free. Don't forget that.
No, not everyone is debt free. This is just a negotiation to keep it going day to day.
No, I'm saying, in a simple jubilee, all the debts end. So,
right. But that's thousands of years ago in a
debt. Apple has cash reserves, but Google's debt, Facebook's debt, Twitter's debt, your personal debt, credit card debt, mortgage debt, student loan debt, all of that debt becomes a legal non-reality. You can no longer collect on it. It results in a stimulus to all of those
Got it. Debt service. Right. Got it. But the thing is, you're making an all or nothing statement, which basically means nothing, because if there is some type of
all or nothing statement,
you're saying all the debt's wiped away. That's an all or nothing statement.
That's how laws work.
I get it, but you're applying this to every corporation, etc. This is going to be a very specific.
Corporations exist by simple rules like this.
I get it, but if the U.S. government ever takes the steps to nullify debt, it's a very specific program, just like all these acts and all these programs. So your fantastic comic book Bible version of a debt jubilee, as I said earlier, means fucking nothing. Got it? Right.
It's just a proposal like any other. The American debt forgiveness policy has not been done. What they want to do is up for grabs. And yes, I have a pitch. Forgive the debt.
Okay, so you explain this to me. Everything I think can be analoged into a pizza parlor. So right now with the SNAP Nutritional Assistance Program, people on, let's say a family of 4 or a single mother of 4, she's getting, let's say, $1,300 a month. Do you realize that we as a society are borrowing so that woman can use Amazon Fresh and Amazon Whole Foods to order $1,300 of food delivered to her front door every month as an individual, receiving that benefit that we have to borrow and spend on so she can get that benefit. We live in a system that is only expanding, its money supply. So it, it is what it is. I'm just saying, I'm posing all my debt rhetoric is nothing more than political rhetoric because it's civilizational.
Well, I don't know. It feels like you're a little cautious to look into the area and pick a side. Like, for example, I'm totally in favor of, like, capitalism and debt and financing and interest rates. Like, I hear all of the arguments. They make sense to me. I just also think that humanity benefits from a debt forgiveness cycle. There's like a book that talks about his theory of like the origin of debt and credit as like a makeup of society, and he sees debt, or really debt forgiveness, as a recipe for the destruction of the society. That when the people, the farmers or whatever, like far off villages, find the debt burden too large, then they allow in enemies. They're no longer loyal to the sovereign that's supposedly protecting them and that they owe money to. If the sovereign results in an indebted populace, the populace, much like in America, invite in the aliens to change the regime.
Got it. And so our government...
Debt forgiveness is rather a prophylactic to strengthen your society, an awareness that there are difficulties upon the peasants and the gentry that invite in destruction of the order of the state. Thus, to preserve the state, the best course of action is to habitually end the debt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It sounds like a nice concept, but...
Well, it's historically sound.
I know, but with what we have in terms of modern credit score systems, everything comes down to an individual social security number. I know there's TINs and there's corporations and all these other partnerships and LLCs that have assets in those names, but every year everybody produces an AGI, an adjusted gross income. And so that's the real measure of what someone has earned in income in relation to social return, meaning that when I want to order a pizza, I'm able to get this guy to come to my fucking front door in the next 5 minutes with my garlic, medium well cheese pizza, because I'm willing to pay $50 to have society produce a man at my door with a $50 pizza. And so that's what we're all working. It's pricey nowadays. And so we are all working to save in order to ask society to produce this service or this product on demand instantaneously, because I saved that money to get you to produce it, or I borrowed it to get you to produce it. So what I'm saying is the social cohesion will eventually, in this banana republic, just like in Venezuela, erode enough to either where you're going to die because society kills you and you get, you didn't relax on the train and you got lit on fire. Oh, my pizza's here. Hey, this is John.
Hey, Prez delivery. I'm outside the...
Oh, okay, great. See you right there. Thanks. All right, pizza's here, boys. Pizza time! Hello? Hello? Hello?
Deal with people becoming homeowners, had to deal with all of those things, and when you really think about what we are doing to free people, when people meet Christ, they meet the liberator. Christ was a liberator. He was one who came to set at liberty. That's what the text says. And so when you look at the fact that Israel had a year release every 7 years, when you look at they had a jubilee every 50 years, and this was in the law. We are designed as Black liberation theologians. We believe that when we meet people, we should be setting them at liberty, because I'm a liberator. And I think when you become a liberator, you tend not to be the type of person that wants to oppress people. You tend not to be the type of person that wants to browbeat people with scripture. You tend to be a person who is very much involved in being able to get people free. So that's more what it is.
Cool, man. Well, look, I'm all for not browbeating people with scripture. I think that shit's like stupid, honestly. So I think that's good. I would ask. I'm aware that because you know about this, I'm curious to ask this. I'm aware that the Romans did debt forgiveness at times. It was kind of a crude economic mechanism because they had this great underclass in the city of Rome that was just multi-generationally poor, and because they were saddled with these generational debts, and it was causing like unrest, so they would just issue this like debt forgiveness like that completely cleared, which doesn't really exist in the modern world, but I know the Romans did it. And you're telling me that they did that in ancient Israel as well?
Oh yeah, it's scripture. You got to go back and read it. And the scripture, this was what was commanded. And I think that even when you look at our system, whereas, we can't hold people to debts that are more than 7 years old. They have to take it off your credit report. It's very similar to that. And not to mention even on a level of interpersonal relationships, in order for you to when you do someone wrong, what do you say? You say, hey man, you owe me an apology. Well, when you owe someone something, that's a financial term, right? You owe them an apology because you did something wrong to them. You're in their debt, right? And so because you're in their debt, now we're talking financial terms. In order to get them to release the debt from you, what do you have to do? Hey man, forgive me, Greg. I shouldn't have said that. I was wrong. It's not in my character, and I won't do it again. And then you release me, and you say, okay, Doc, I'm gonna let you go. Let's just move on from here. Well, I just cleared the debt out the way. It's the same thing when we interact with people, where we wind up in their debt. And what do we learn about karma? You got to be careful. Karma's real. But if you don't release people, you don't forgive people, when the karma comes to get them, it's going to get you too, because you're still holding on to it. So it's literally
Doctor,
about being.
how do we liberate Marshall from that cheetah jacket? It looks like it came from the Goodwill 20 years ago. It's disgusting, Marshall. Take it to the dry cleaner, clean it up. It looks filthy.
Stick on topic, like you always do.
Yeah, so anyway, wow. But anyway, when you look at that type of exchange and how it really does teach us how to deal with one another, and it also teaches us how we should be putting things in place in our government, in our laws, in our societies to help people live more free. What is that motto? I think it's New Hampshire, live free or die. And that's very real, because if you can't live free, you kind of are dying a little bit. At least the that's born, BORNE, to you. I'll say this one last thing about theology. It's highly subjective. You can pull up something Cone said. You can pull up something Thurman said. It could be completely different. Which one of them are right? Is no right or wrong in theology. It's just a difference of opinion. That's all.
Yeah, well, I liked a lot of that, so thank you.
Hey, Stella, how you doing?
Hey, Marshall. Sure.
Happy
You can
club
book it online?
anniversary.
Yeah, are you? Oh, let me ask. Hold on. Sorry, I'm not working in the library. I'm almost done. Sounds good.
I just want to know, are you single?
It does one good to hope.
I was talking to Sailor, but okay.
No, I don't mean you. I met Stella. I've known Stella for a long time, and if I lived near her, I probably would have sent a letter by now. She is a wonderful person, very easy to be around, kind. So, you know, got all the attractive qualities one would want.
She seems like a very sweet woman.
She is. She has her convictions and she sticks to them, but she's a genuinely kind person.
I like that. I like that. I mean, if you listen, Sailor, if you tired of the producers being all in the video, all in the movies, all in the TV, come to Death Row.
Come to Death Row. I would love to come to Death Row. I don't have anything to do. I could maybe do a podcast. Being on Death Row Records would be like a dream come true of mine. I'm not joking.
So you
Hey, listen.
are you
I had
okay,
to throw that in there because of the Diddy documentary, right?
Wait, so Marshall, are you okay? You been off your meds or something?
No, Ray Vaya. I was just, it tangentially involved the music I like, which I don't talk about very much. I took a course in college called Hip Hop and Philosophy, which was the philosophical and political movements behind hip hop and rap, and so loved it. I don't get to talk about it much, but
Well, it's too bad you didn't get to talk about it too much.
A guy named Dr. Tommy Curry, and it was just a great class. So anytime that kind of stuff gets mentioned, I get kind of excited.
He's excited.
Can I get mods?
Oh yeah, by the way, what's good, Sailor? How you doing? Salute to everybody on the stage.
What's up,
Say
Ella?
Sarah, let me get mods, please.
Hey, sorry, y'all. I'm at work right now, so my bad. I'm trying to have this clubhouse birthday while I'm at work. No.
Sarah, mod me. Just mod me before you go back to work. Mod me quickly. Mod me.
There you go. I'm modded.
You didn't
Wait,
mod me.
Sailor. Whose birthday
I
is
thought you
it?
should have
Yours?
modded Marshall because he's the most, professional person.
It's my clubhouse birthday. Hold on, let me see if this room is open. Hold on, I have a student trying to.
He's professional?
Yeah, okay, cool. All right, sorry, y'all. My bad.
So look, right. So I take it you wanna come over here, with me and all the folks over at Death Row Records, and
I mean, Marshall.
you gonna get paid over here. Unlike Bad Boy.
Marshall is in the state with the highest number of executions rate, so I mean, it's not that difficult, I would imagine. It's so.
What state is it again?
I live in Texas.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. And well, y'all got Jasmine Crockett, right? Y'all gonna make that happen?
Between her and Tallarico, it's going to be an interesting primary.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll win the primary, but it'll be an interesting primary no matter what happens.
Yeah, I don't know, man. If I lived in Texas, I don't know.
See, I don't live in any of the major cities. I live, if you know where San Antonio is, I live 4 hours south of San Antonio. I live like, where I am now is like an hour from Mexico, but where I normally live, I'm 25 minutes from Mexico. And it's a great place to live. I enjoy it.
Sure, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, great people, great food, great booze. It's a little hot here, but other than that, you know, it's a great place to live.
You know, Sayla, I started to delete this app because I got tired of notifications. But you were one of the rooms I like to come in and actually converse and talk to people. I do wonder about some people since Clubhouse has moved on since its pandemic days.
You know, you can turn the notifications off, silly.
Yeah, I had to.
Let me do that.
I thought about just getting rid of that.
Let me on fucking J1's on. Hold on 1 second.
I built up a big Instagram following from Clubhouse during the pandemic, and then I lost that page, and I had to start all over again from scratch. So, but I just haven't.
Daniel, no shenanigans, okay? You gotta promise.
Who's Daniel?
Daniel's one of my friends who's a lunatic, absolute lunatic. Unless you mod him. If you mod him, there's a chance that he might behave himself, actually.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't, like there's a chance. But if I.
Oh, I remember him. I remember this guy here.
Crazy.
Oh, the stuff we used to go back and forth about back then.
Yeah, he's nuts. But if I ask him, if I mod him and I ask him to behave, then we should be good to go. So.
Why you call yourself Nero? Nero was an evil ruler.
He certainly was. Nero was. Yeah. Caligula was.
Oh yeah.
But you remember
all of the Caesars.
Yeah. Like I know that he had the sick fantasy with his one of his spouses that he castrated young male to take the role of the female. So.
Well, it's not like when he married a horse. It's not like when Caligula married a horse.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, that's pretty bad too.
Right there.
I mean, I've never really thought of this until now, but Roman marriages required a societal expectation of consummation. Did Caligula do that? He was sick.
I'm sure he did.
He was sick enough to.
Mm-hmm.
But Caracalla and Geta in the later empire, they were pretty sick.
Yeah, and then you had the fact that Nero killed pretty much every woman in his family could find to keep, the story of him having sex with mom from being spread. So,
I mean, he tried to kill his mother 3 times before he had the guard do it. He tried to poison her. He tried to have somebody shoot at her with an arrow or something, and he tried a collapsible boat. And it didn't work. Then he just had the Praetorian Guard execute her.
I mean, yeah, we get that what the etymology of the word is, but Nero is still an evil, wicked dictator from Rome.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. You can never hear the word Nero without thinking Rome burns and Nero fiddles.
Yep. He was crazy. All those people that moved Rome.
I mean, it's interesting though. You get all the negative reports and histories where they make their enemies seem worse, but yeah, Nero, it was written by his own contemporaries. He was pretty fucked up.
Yeah, he was.
It's not even the shit you see in 300 where it's they antagonize. If you saw the movie 300, you'd think that the Persians were just completely dominant for imperialism specifically.
I like 300. That was one of my favorites.
It's so overrated, I think. I mean, if it wasn't for the special effects, it wouldn't have gotten to the charts.
I just like the fact that he said, "This is Sparta," and he kicks the goddamn the well.
Overused meme.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool to me.
Hey, you know what's really funny? The king that's in Sparta, the Persian king that looks like a monster, is the same king from One Night with the King with Esther, and he looks all like romantic, long.
Rodrigo Santoro.
Yeah. He looks all Romeo in one movie, and then in the other one, he looks like a goblin. So, such a European thing to do. No offense to Europeans.
I take no offense. We're pretty fucked up, so.
Sorry. Yeah, what was bothering me, Necro, yesterday is like, if your behavior yesterday in that room is like normative of what your behavior generally is like, then I don't.
No, it's not.
Are you usually different?
No, I mean, like I said, it's like, it's just the fact that I was dealing with essentially people who were, it wasn't even really Sasha I was getting pissed off, because, like, fuck the dude, he's just an asshole ultimately, but, like, just in general, the fact that everybody was assuming, like, saying that I was being mean for doing the same thing that Sasha was doing, right back, essentially.
No, absolutely. My feelings were getting hurt the way that you were being mishandled. Like, I was literally getting my feelings hurt, but people were saying that normally you're not the nicest, so it was really confusing. Like, I'm like, is this how you normally act? Were you acting different? I didn't know.
Yeah, the thing is just, I know it's like Zabuto has had issues with me for some reason, but I literally told her that, before in the past, I've told her, like, when she's had issues with me, I'd be willing to listen to everything that she has with me, and then she can invite me up when she's done telling me so I can respond to it. And she's refused to do that. And she'll say, this is the thing, she says I don't respect her boundaries, but I think the problem with her is the fact that she gives her input on things, and then when I respond to it, like, kind of like, I don't know if you noticed it yesterday, but she was complaining about me speaking on things, and I just told her, well, okay, then don't talk to me if you don't want me to speak on anything.
Sheila, you sound like Violet from The Incredibles.
She made me sound like Violet?
No, Sheila.
I gotta check that out.
Reverend, are you an actual reverend, or is that just a clubhouse thing? I hate to ask, clubhouse got attacking the last, like, 2-3 years, so you have reverends that aren't really reverends. But
did I have Reverend on my title?
Yes, sir, you did. Maybe it's an old clubhouse thing.
No, I'm a real Reverend.
Dude,
and a real doctor.
Awesome.
Dude, no way!
If you don't mind my asking.
Oh, I don't do much preaching. I try to live it more.
I feel that way about my Christianity as well.
It's more about living it. I believe when the scripture says wine is for making merry and a feast is for laughter and money answers all things, I take that to heart.
It's always struck me as God expects us to be the light of the example, not the preacher. The preaching is left to him. Not
the preaching is such a small part of it. It's not the major. The thing of it is we're all assigned the ministry of reconciliation. We all have responsibility to be our full selves. Be who you are. Be who God made you to be. And you get to decide who that is. We keep practicing cheap grace and putting everything on God, when the truth of it is who you choose. Like, people think that God plays matchmaker. I tell people to stop doing that. There's nowhere in scripture where God played matchmaker other than Adam and Eve. So he tried it once, it didn't work out for him, so he stopped. So your soulmate is whoever you choose it to be. People keep thinking God's sitting up there playing match. You don't think God busy enough to be sitting around worried about who you sleeping with? At the end of the day, it's your choice. It's who you decide you want to be with. That is your soulmate. And you get more than one. And we need to stop trying to put this on God, because some of these relationships and marriages, there's no way in hell God put it together.
I really appreciate it. Thanks, Reverend.
Yeah, no problem. You say Reverend. I look for my grandmother or somebody. Lord, I forgot I had.
Hey, doctor, I got a question for you. I mean, if God is all knowing and everywhere and everything, you don't think God is concerned in our love lives? Come on, it's the ultimate reason.
I never said that. What I said was he don't play matchmaker.
Of course he plays matchmaker. That's just your opinion, doctor.
Well,
Don't you know about St. Valentine?
oh dear God.
He was martyred by the Roman Empire for marrying people.
Edmund, who just like can't control himself.
I was just gonna tell him, like, you ever heard of Thursday? That was named after the god Thor.
Yeah, Thursday. All the names of the week were named after Greek and Roman deities.
Yeah, Saturday, Saturn, and Sunday, Sun God's Day.
Monday was the moon, and Tuesday was Mars, Mardi, Tuesday. Wednesday was Woden's Day, or the Norse god. Thursday, Thor's Day. And Thursday's also, I think, ruled by Jupiter, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
have some questions for you. You have really obviously liberal ideas when it comes to like the Christian arena. So, are they hiring you to come speak or preach at churches? Are you hired at a church? Like, I'm really one of the reasons why I don't complete my seminary is because I already know that my views are gonna kind of make me an anathema. Is it anathema?
She's an anathema.
Yeah. So like, I'm like, what's the point of doing this when I already know I'm gonna be rejected by the majority? Unless I open my own, I guess, Universalist church. But I feel like I could do that without the credentials. But anyways, are people hiring you? Is what I'm asking you.
No.
Honestly, there's not much money in ministry. I do better doing government contracts and helping small businesses win work. I do better, advising and instructing. And I'm actually working on a podcast right now that's due to air here next week.
Podcast, you say?
And
You're working on it right now.
It's going to be about finances, faith, fitness, family, and contracts, government contracts.
Do you have a female correspondent yet?
I don't.
How many people are on the podcast?
It's just going to be me right now.
What's the name of the podcast?
Forward Progress. Yeah, I picked that particular name because in football, when you get the first down, they'll try to pull you back and say you didn't make it. Say, no, you can't stop them from getting the first down. They got it by forward progress. I think for a lot of people, they put in a lot of effort, a lot of energy to making their lives what they want it to be, and somehow they get pulled back or snatched back. I'm like, no, man, we're going to help you move forward in progress, and that's really what it's about. It's an old campaign slogan I used for a couple friends of mine who wanted to know what they should make their campaigns about, and so they call it Forward Progress. So that's what we're doing. I think that's more advantageous than standing in a pulpit preaching, because most people aren't really even going into churches nowadays, and they just don't pay preachers enough for me. I know people who are full-time pastors and they make $24,000 a year. It's peanuts.
Stick up for her now, but trust me, when she turns on you, she's gonna make the same accusations.
You can't
she's doing to me right
survive on $24,000 a year.
She's an evil girl.
So that's the problem that I have with it. It's just like, come on, man. You got to pay those loans back from seminary unless you went free. And Howard University is not cheap at all.
Well, I think if you're graduating from Howard University with the theology
You know, it's using my PTR now.
That's my point.
You chose $23,000 because with a theology degree from Howard, you could be a chaplain and make way more than that.
You can go into chaplaincy for sure, but you ask if people were like, bring me to the church and hire me out and all that, and it's just not enough money for me to do that, to be honest. It's not enough money. I make more money going to talk to groups about how they can turn government contracts into income for themselves. So, you know, I mean, I've had people offer me asinine amounts of money to come speak, and I turn it down.
Your theology degree in the first place.
Well, honestly, the truth be told, I only went to seminary because the AME Church would not ordain me without an MDiv.
Baldo!
That's the only reason I went.
Being attacked with being
Otherwise,
Baldo.
I was content with my
Mr.
MBA and
Baldo.
my master's in public administration. I didn't necessarily need the third degree. Or the fourth one, for that matter.
Mr. Baldo. Congressman Baldy.
Go ahead, Necro.
Yeah, I just also wanted to say I really do apologize. I did not mean to misgender Sasha. It's just it's something that I do.
Need to work on.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of people struggle to remember pronouns, so I get it. I just wanted to know if you were doing it.
Necro also did me to sleep with a
You
trans.
seem pretty sincere enough.
Oopsie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one of the things, to me, the only
Oopsie.
reason.
How you don't come up? It's my birthday. It's my clubhouse birthday. I'm just teasing. Go ahead, Necro.
Yeah, I mean, in general, the only reason I stayed in the room last night was because I saw that, you at the very least were able to see through essentially what I was going through.
You don't have to apologize, Necro. Be comfortable with your life's decisions.
John, stop. Necro, what was going on with you last night? Talk to me.
Yeah, I don't know.
Everyone heard what happened.
Well, I mean, I don't know, son, if you want us to go through what I went through last night. Today of the time.
You want to talk about it, or is it something you just rather just not talk about?
I mean,
I think that we should at least cover a little bit of it. What did you say that was, what do you think the most offensive thing he said was?
well, I think essentially, a lot of the frustration that I gave, I think the stuff that I was really intentionally, the only time I was being deliberately disrespectful was when I was doing the same shit that Sasha was doing, pretty much.
You line for us what that was.
Calling him, stupid, and, pretty much just throwing the typical insults that he calls people, or she calls people.
Does she call people trannies?
No.
Did you attack her transgender?
No.
No, I would just he would say start off saying she and then forget and start saying he by accident apparently. But I know that I know people in my own life that
He's dangerous, I'm telling you. He goes around.
I can hear it.
She goes around and she lies well. Legit, she lies well.
Watch out, bro, Scar.
She goes around here accusing people of being pedophiles,
I will
rapists,
hit it.
and people believe her for some strange reason. She's a good liar.
She's a good liar, eh?
She's an evil girl, I'm telling you.
Invite her back.
Which girl is this? Which angel?
Music.
I already reported her account anyway.
So, have we gotten
She has
to...
another account.
Have we
Her
got...
other account is Tash.
Have we gotten to the 29 questions? Have we finished it?
I don't know, man. I go.
What a long day, Diego and Brincesia.
Kitover.
Yo, Brincesia!
You know your YouTube does not work.
I know the audio's... My microphone, my mic is broken.
You're recording with no audio, man.
I know, but, it's okay. Whatever. Who cares? So many videos anyways. What's the difference?
No, that's pretty sad because it's been like that for a while now.
I know. I was trying to figure out which phone it was. I'm still a little confused.
No, I think it's YouTube. I think they banned you.
You think YouTube is silencing me? That's what I thought
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, for sure.
They're just like, this guy's so annoying. We don't want his audio, but he can create video.
That's so funny. Diego, did you enjoy the takeover of your room? I know you like when people go crazy in your room like that. You were here too.
He's a crazy kind of guy. He's probably not even here right now. His phone is probably sitting by the toilet, and he's probably like downstairs having dinner with the family or something.
Yeah, probably.
Well, you've been here all day long. You've accomplished so many questions and so much typing and note taking.
Well,
Wow.
I'm still depressed over
Bravo.
my face, so it makes no difference to me.
Bravo. Well, just congratulating you, Scarface. Great work on another solid day of hard work here in the Clown House Industrial Complex. You're really excelling and clowning around. Fantastic work. And Dr. Diego, chief ringleader of the circus, congratulations. You're doing excellent work as well. And as the head of the Clown House, thank you, community. What was it?
Oh, it's working now. Good job. You fixed it.
Yeah, it's. I think it's my main phone, like my new phone, which is very upsetting because it's an expensive phone, and people on this app always tell me your mic sucks. Maybe it's not.
Well, you fixed it.
We'll figure it out. I think it's a different phone. Anyways, thank you so very much, and I wish you all the best. Great work. Good job. Ugh, I bought a new Zen bell, and it's not really zenning.
Honestly, Snook is exhausting. I'm glad he left, but I wish Simon would come back.
Oh, Simon is exhausting. He's so stupid.
No. Simon's cool.
As I said at the start, Nick, to be clear.
No, it's not an ambush.
Nick, to be clear, I'm not
understands.
ambushing you. I'm literally reading an anecdote that you revealed on your podcast. It's you that's put it in the public domain.
I know.
I'm simply asking you whether my assessment of that, which is that your father didn't want to take you to certain restaurants because of what you refer to as commonly known as
race.
Oh no, I changed it by accident. This commercial.
It's easy because I use Fixer. Here's how I clear my inbox in minutes.
whether that attitude to African Americans in that instance permeated to you. It's a reasonable question.
Yeah, no, like I said, I think everybody knows what that is, but I'll address it. I'll engage with it, and I'll defend my father from the charge of racism.
Sure.
No, my parents are not racist, and they've never been racist. I'll tell you about my parents. They used to have a school in Chicago in the South Loop where they instructed people on how to shoot firearms. Security school.
Do you want me to keep playing it, Diego? I figured you.
Yeah, go ahead, baby.
You're so retarded.
Most of the clients were black. And I believe actually one of their clients was Larry Hoover's son at one point, sort of a funny story. And so most of their clients would come in from the south side of Chicago. My grandmother, she grew up in the projects in the city. And so my family, being in Chicago, being ethnics, being Italian, Irish, Mexican, and the west side on Taylor Street, all over the city. My family for many generations have lived near and around black people. And look, my views about black people and their views about black people are shaped with experiences with black people. And what they will tell you, what my parents would say if they were here, is that for many, many years, the older generations of black people were very respectful, very humble, very decent. In fact, my grandma used to have an anecdote. She grew up in a lot of dysfunction. Her mother was mentally ill, and they would be having dinner in the projects, and there'd be so much chaos and dysfunction and disagreement and fighting. And she would look across the way out the window at a black family in the other apartment, and they'd be holding hands around the table saying grace. And this is sort of the culture that used to prevail. But now what you have in the city is that there's no accountability for the black people. And now Chicago has become a complete dump because these teenagers go out and they take over the city
They call them teen takeovers. That's the euphemism for it. They're teenagers, but they all come from the same neighborhood. They drive up there and they mug people and attack people and they destroy cars and destroy shops. We had the Festival of Lights a couple of weeks ago. It's supposed to be a family event. And they light up the trees and they, there's a big parade. I was in the parade one year and you had a bunch of black people there shooting each other. 7 people shot, a 14-year-old killed in the Magnificent Mile. And I know there's a lot of black people that feel the same way about this. They say, we've lost control of the city and we're looking for accountability. We have a lot of black people that are always outraged about racism, outraged about attitudes from white people, but they're never ashamed of some of these behaviors, never ashamed of some of the things that go on. And that's why I think there's a lot of negative attitudes these days. And so, again, I think those attitudes, you say I'm a product of my environment. I am. And so are my parents and my grandparents. Unlike you, because you're not even American, in Chicago, we have to live in a big, diverse city where there's a lot of different kinds of people. And
I live in a big
anybody in
diverse
Chicago
city.
tell you the same.
I live in London. It's one of the biggest and most diverse cities in the world.
But it's not the same.
Well, actually, it's a big, diverse city. The only difference is we don't have the gun violence because we don't have guns. That's a whole different story. I don't want to get into that with you. I have got into that before.
You got a knife problem. You got sword problems.
We have problems.
You have Aladdin.
We have problems with violent crime. I make no pretense of it. So the idea that somehow I'm cosseted in London because I'm not in Chicago.
I didn't say that.
Well, you kind of implied it, but I guess my point about the environment, I'm not saying you are a product of your environment. I'm saying most people are in some capacity. When I read that anecdote, it's just to remind you, it's not something I have put out there. You told this story, right? And you said that
you said this. We're looping. You said this.
No, but you haven't really directly, I think, responded to it, which is whether your father would not take you to certain restaurant chains because he associated them with black Americans. Is that true?
No, well, see here, if you're in America, you would say that Olive Garden is not real Italian food. Applebee's, TGI Fridays, this stuff is a load of crap. My dad was just a food stop, but no, it's got nothing to do with that. My best friend in first grade was a black guy. We're not a racist family. So.
Okay, so when you told the story, I'm just curious. So when you told that anecdote, which clearly on the face of it is racist, right? You're basically saying your father made racist decisions about where you would go as a family to eat.
Should we fast forward?
Well, I'm just going to ask you a question. You told that story.
What did you say?
Let's just listen to it.
Okay.
Didn't mean to infer that he was racist. And do you understand why when somebody like me reads that anecdote for the first time, as I did this week, I reach a different...
Scotty!
Well, I understand what you're doing, which is a sort of making of a murderer. How did he become racist? Well, his father didn't eat an Olive Garden because he said that's not real Italian food. Hang on, can I?
I'm literally reminding you of something you said on your show, which led me to conclude a certain thing. If I'm wrong, tell me.
Yeah, it was said in jest as a humorous anecdote, and now you're trying to spin it into a narrative, which is his parents are racist. He comes from a long line of racists. And I think everybody knows my parents are boomers. And these people come, well, you're a boomer, I guess, too, in a way,
60.
right? You were born in what, 19? Yeah, so you're a boomer also. Or maybe you're a Gen Xer, I suppose it's sort of on the cusp. But it's a humorous anecdote. These are kind of the attitudes of baby boomers in society, but you're trying to spin it into a narrative, which is you're a product of your environment. Your dad's racist because of this joke. Now you're a racist, and I don't think that's a fair characterization.
Okay. People can make their own minds up. They can go back and listen to you say it. I mean, the beauty of what I'm going to talk to you about in this interview is that almost all of it is just going to be reminding you what you have said and asking you what you meant. Your position about that story is that it was a joke, okay? I want to come to something else you said. This is where you talk about Jews, women, and blacks. This doesn't take...
Child. Apologies for commercial.
So stop wearing so many layers to go outside and get the bears.
They're always coming up with, no, it's not the Jews. No, it's not women. No, it's not blacks. It's actually really complicated. No, it fucking isn't at all. Jews are running society. Women need to shut the fuck up. Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. and we would live in paradise. It's that simple.
Okay. Would you like to clarify what you meant there?
That's all true. That's 100% true. Everything I said in that clip is true.
Including that blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part.
Yeah. Yes. No, for the most part.
What does the most part mean? What percentage of American blacks would you like to see in prison?
Whatever the percentages of the murderers. I think it's 1 in 20 black men will commit a murder in their lifetime. So maybe let's say that 5%.
Oh, so you're talking about black people who murder people?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But you didn't say that. You just said blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. You didn't clarify that you were talking about black murderers.
Right. No, you're right. That's a good addition to that. That's a great point.
Do you think it's funny? Or
I think, yeah, I do. I think it's hilarious. I think it's totally true.
do you think a black American would find it funny? You think that blacks should be imprisoned for the most part?
Blacks are my biggest fans. I get high fives all the time.
Thanks for
Nick Fuentes, I love your show. They agree with me. And you want to know why? Here's the difference. Black people are the most victimized by other black people. You think black people want to live in the hood and the ghetto and get shot all the time? That's what happens in the south side of Chicago. You should come here. I'll take you there. We could go to Garfield Park.
My son went to Chicago University for a year, actually, several years ago.
Yeah, that's a bubble. That's a bubble. You think you're in Chicago and Hyde Park? You don't know Chicago. Go a little bit west, see what it's like over there. And I'll tell you, black people agree with me because they're tired of it too. And maybe not most of them, but a lot of them agree with what I say about that because they know how it is. That's why the first thing they do when they make a little bit of money is they go and leave to another neighborhood.
Okay, so are you a racist? Yes, I'm a racist.
Black men who commit murder in America. What was the percentage you gave me?
It's 1 in 20. 1 in 20.
It's 1 in 100.
No, it's 1 in 20.
No. Less than 1 in 100 black U.S. men commit murder. That's the most up-to-date crime statistics in America.
That's not true. I've seen other statistics. They say 1 in 20 will eventually commit a murder.
So your rate means that you're saying that 5 times as many black men commit murder as the official crime statistics say.
Yeah, there's a report, I believe, on X by Data Hazard. I'll have to go and double check that for you. But yes, there's some pretty shocking evidence that says that it's far more alarming than you would think.
Okay, but you would accept that the official crime statistics are 1 in 100, or you wouldn't accept that statistic?
I don't know. I don't have it in front of me, but I've seen other evidence. Like I said, Data Hazard on X, I believe, produced a report about a year ago. It said 1 in 20. But, I mean, whether it's 1 in 20 or 1 in 100, that's a lot of people, Piers. I mean,
sure,
this is
a lot
real
of white
problem.
people commit murder too. Well, they do, don't they?
Okay, but it's about proportionality. I mean, white people are 65% of the population. Blacks are 13%. And I think anybody would tell you that more black people proportionally commit violent crime than white people. And people vote with their feet. People would rather pay a much higher property tax.
Most
what's with the interruptions?
I'm sorry.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, you look at in Chicago, in New York, these neighborhoods are so stratified. People would rather pay a high tax rate. They'd rather pay a much higher property value to live in a less diverse, less black neighborhood because they don't want to live around the violence. And I think that when you look at even on the public transit, the subway, the blue line, you know, people don't want to go there because they know who occupies and menaces the public transit. It is these people like Daniel Penny had to deal with. It's people like Irina Zarutska had to deal with. And that's just the uncomfortable reality.
You've also said you don't want to live near black people. Let's take a listen to this clip.
I'm a new generation of white person. I'm not living around blacks. Sorry. You know, I want white kids, and I don't want my white kids bringing home black people to marry. It's racial for me. And call me racist. Oh, very Christian of you. I don't give a fuck.
I mean, it couldn't be clearer, really, unless you want to say that's another of your jokes. But you're basically saying, yeah, I'm a racist, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
You're fine with saying you're a racist?
Totally. I think everybody's racist. I think everybody, if we're being honest, is racist. I think everybody, the only people that aren't racist or pretend not to be are white people to their detriment. Everybody else is racist.
Earlier in the interview, you really got aggrieved at the idea that your father was a racist. You wanted to make emphatically
because
sure
my father's
He's not.
Because my father doesn't share my same views on that.
So he's the exception to the everyone's a racist.
Well, everybody's a little bit racist. You're right. So maybe everybody. The difference is you're attacking my father. You know, he
I'm
can
not
get
attacking
fired
your
from his
father.
job.
I'm not attacking your father.
You are.
No, I'm not. I don't know your father. And to be clear, I have no knowledge about him at all.
Well, then let's leave him out of it.
Well,
Let's leave him out of it if you don't know.
Hang on, Nick. You put that story into the public domain on your show. I'm simply reminding you of what you told everybody, millions of people, about your father. If you now want to retract it, fine. If you want to say it was a joke, which is what your position was earlier, fine. But I'm allowed to put to you things you've said publicly. That's not unfair. That's not me targeting your father. You put that story about him out
You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing.
I'm asking you about it pretty
That's
shortly.
right. That's right.
Which to me,
You both know what you're doing.
your father made decisions about
Your father didn't want to go to the restaurant because there's too many black people there. That's a racist.
of people who worked at these places. If you say, or use them, if you say that is not what you meant, that's fine. You can respond any way you like. But the idea I can't ask you about it without you saying I'm attacking your father is ridiculous.
Well, you are, and you know what you're doing. And there's a political culture in America where if you have the wrong views, you get fired from your job. And my father has a job.
Well, then why did you call your father then?
You charge him with racism.
Exactly.
And I'm put in a position where I don't look like I'm sticking to my guns. If I don't say my father's a racist, you're putting him in jeopardy, and he's not here to defend himself or explain his views. And it's very low. And
Did his father fire people for being black?
People can see what you're doing. I'll defend my views. And I think that, so let's leave him out of it. Let's just not talk about my father because my father isn't here. I'm here.
Okay, well,
I'll
then do you
defend
accept
my
that you
views
shouldn't
and I'll
talk?
defend
Okay,
the anecdote.
that's fine. But then do you accept you shouldn't talk about your father on your show? And you shouldn't tell him?
Absolutely not. Absolutely
So
not.
it's fine for you to put a story out there which would make most people who listened to that story or watched it at the time on your show conclude that he was racist. It's fine for you to do that. But if I then ask you about it, I'm the one who's being unfair and I've crossed the line. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you're
That's
being
fine.
malicious.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Listen, people are watching this live.
He's a little bitch
Their
ass.
own conclusion.
Yeah, he's
What I need to do. Yeah, and I'm sure
they will.
afterwards, by the way, you'll say, he ambushed me.
He cares about his dad.
He's clutching his throat. Well, then, if he cared about his dad, why did he bring him
It's a
into
little
the conversation?
presumptuous. I'm not going to say it's an ambush, but I think that's a low blow.
And now he's clutching his pearls.
Fine, you're a tabloid journalist. I expected that. I don't think it's an ambush because I knew it would be like this. And people will see what you're doing, and I think they'll say it's low. But as far as you want to talk about racism,
I do.
let's talk about racism.
Okay,
let's leave my dad out of it.
Look, you've admitted you're a racist, correct?
Yes, 100%.
Yes, he's a racist.
Okay, that's fine. You're perfectly entitled in a free democratic society to stare down the barrel of his camera and tell me you're a racist. People can judge you accordingly. Many people who have assumed that you're a racist will now have heard it from your own lips. That's fine.
There you go.
That's the point. The point
There you go.
is to go over the things you said, which have led people to reach conclusions about you, and to ascertain whether those conclusions are fair and reasonable or not. That's it.
Thank
so I want
you.
to play you another clip. This is what you talk about why white people are justified in being racist. Let's take a listen to this.
First, white people are every single bit justified in being racist. Every single bit justified to the extent that that means going out of your way to avoid black people when you see them.
You stand with that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The instant fix for snorers without touching their nose.
Sorry, guys. 1 second.
And still end up slipping.
There you go.
So white people should go out of their way to avoid black people when they see them.
Absolutely. They would be wise.
Why?
Because it's a lose-lose proposition. If you're Irina Zarutska and you don't walk the other way, you get stabbed to death and you die. If you're somebody else and you walk on the subway and you stand near a black person or something, maybe it's fine. It's a lose-lose proposition. So no, I think that white people have been beaten into submission, that we're afraid to tell the truth about it. And the truth is that when you go into these major cities like New York or Chicago, I believe she was in North Carolina, there is a menace, which is young, black, adolescent men. They're extremely violent.
Racist.
And we have been told that we have to pretend like they are every other person. We have to be colorblind to that. And we're supposed to go and be in the midst of all this danger. And I think that at this point, it's gotten out of control. You look at the BLM movement, they said that the reason that black people, are violent, or the reason there's crime, is because of police brutality, or redlining, or all these other things. They said we need to get rid of the police. We need to defund them. And a lot of cities did. A lot of cities like Chicago, for example, the police changed the rules of engagement. They don't chase them. It's not a felony if you steal a certain amount of merchandise. They won't chase them on foot. And now the city's totally up for grabs. And now, whether you're in the Gold Coast, or whether you're on the Mag Mile, or you're in the worst neighborhoods in the city, you might get shot, you might get mugged, someone might run up on you. And I tell my followers, it is better to be perceived as racist or racist and walk the other way and maybe keep your life, than to say, I'm a good anti-racist. I don't mind that this person's making me uncomfortable. Maybe he's looking a little froggy. I'm going to sit down because I'm a good person, and get stabbed, mugged, whatever.
Yeah, that's like that scene in Training Day.
Call it the friendly stranger. There's a crew of them. They do this in Chicago. They stand outside bars.
Brendan Fraser and then Salma Hayek
pretend to be a
Sandra Bullock refuses to cross the street. Remember, because of all the black people.
Friendly stranger, and then they mug them. And stupid white people say, "Oh, hi, yeah, nice to meet you." They grin, they laugh, they put up with the nonsense, and then they get mugged, or worse. Sometimes they get executed. And so, as a white person,
how do you feel about mass shootings at school?
I think they're bad.
Who do you think commits the majority of the mass shootings?
I'm sure it's white people.
Right. So how do you feel about that?
I think that white people do more antisocial violence. I think black people participate in more gang violence. I think that's the difference.
What's the difference to the victims?
There's no difference to the victim, but it's a different kind of crime, and it's a different proportion also. Do you know what percentage of white people are school shooters?
Per capita.
I know that the vast majority of mass shootings in schools in America this century were perpetrated by young white men. And I'm curious whether your advice would be to people who have kids in these schools.
Is my mic working?
Should they avoid white people at school? Should people with the kids at school avoid young white men at school?
No.
Okay.
Do you know what per capita means? Do you know proportionality? There are more black people proportionally that engage in violent crime or are involved in gangs, especially in these major cities, than there are white people that are school shooters compared to the entire white population, and everybody understands that.
Two-thirds of mass shootings at school perpetrated by white people.
But what proportion of white men commit school shootings? That's the question.
I've just told you. It's 60 or 65% of school shootings by white people.
You're telling me what proportion of school shootings are committed by white people. I'm saying what proportion of white people have committed school shootings. Are you playing dumb, or are you just not that smart? What's the difference? See, now you want to jump on the victims. The difference is you're asking, would you fear white people or black people? And that's the difference. The difference is
what I'm saying to you is, by your logic, if we now have agreed that the vast majority of mass shootings in schools are committed by white people and predominantly young white men, then presumably your advice would be to avoid young white men because they perpetrate these massacres. But it won't be because they're white, right?
So are you playing dumb, or are you actually dumb? Maybe proportionality. You are because you're. I don't think you are dumb. I think you're smart actually, but you're deliberately avoiding per capita, and everybody knows that's the difference. What proportion of white men are school shooters? It's probably 0.00001%. What proportion of black men have committed violent crimes? It's probably like 5%. I guess I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but it's very high. And I would add to that, even as it concerns schools, why do you think parents pay a super high property tax to live in a school district where there's white people? Because they know that if they go to the black school, it's going to be the Bloods and the Crips. It's going to be gangs. It's going to be, you talk about school shootings. Nobody talks about all the school shootings that are committed by gangbangers in and around the school, and all the other violence that's associated with that. I mean, these schools in the south side of Chicago, it's just not.
I have an answer
livable.
For you, Nick. So the proportion of the population who carry out mass shootings is actually the same for black and white.
For white people, the proportion of again, are you hearing it? No.
So I think the trouble with your statistics is a lot of them don't bear much scrutiny. We have a bunch of fact checkers checking all this in real time because you do have a tendency to just come out with a little old baloney. And when you say, well, it's true. And when you're confronted with reality, you don't like it.
What's the figure? What proportion of white people have committed school shootings? With white people as the denominator and white people that have committed school shootings as the numerator, what's that percentage?
For both black and whites, the proportion of the population who carry out mass shootings generally is about the same.
No. Tell me the number, and
yet, the only focus of your attention is the black shootings, the black crime. You don't want to live around black people. You want to avoid black people. You don't want interracial marriages or relationships that may produce black people. And yet, when I point out to you that there are many parts of crime in America where actually there's a majority of white people that perpetrate them, you don't care. You don't have any interest in that. It doesn't exercise your mind. Maybe
no one's buying this. This argument lost. No one is buying this. Everybody understands per capita, and people can even see what you race ahead and say, well, we're comparing the proportion of white and black school shooters. I said, no, compare the proportion of school shooters that are white versus violent criminals that are black, because that was the basis of the monologue, is that you're very likely, if you encounter black people or a young black man in the city, that you're going to be the victim of a violent crime, of a robbery, a mugging, a car theft, a carjacking, or a murder. That's the difference, and it's about proportionality. And everybody sees past that because we all live in reality. You want to talk about product of your environment? People that live in New York, Chicago, LA, we live in reality. We live in this environment, and we see what it's like. And the threat, the danger, in terms of probability, it's not even comparable. And I would say this, to your point. If you're in a high school and truly, if you see a white person who looks like a little autistic, he's got the SSRI stare and he reaches for a backpack, people joke and say, run. Similarly, if you see a jalopy pulling up with a bunch of black people in it and they got their pants around the ankles, you're going to run also. And I'm saying the same thing. The difference is, the latter happens much more often. It's much more common. In Chicago, there's like 10,000 carjackings and car thefts every day. It's in the thousands. It happens all the time. How many mass shootings committed by autistic SSRI white people? I don't even know. I mean, it's probably in the single digits in the last decade in the city. That's the difference. And you're really just trying to carry water for liberal ideology.
I can absolutely say there is way too much black crime, for example, involving guns. Yes, there is way too much gun violence.
Yo, I don't care. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, leave Simon alone. Leave Simon alone.
It's indisputable. I've got no problem saying that. The difference is, I don't then lead myself into a thought process where I have to avoid all black people in case they shoot me. And you've already conceded that you are a racist. So when people hear you then say, I don't want to be living
he did admit to being a racist. He did say I'm
a racist. So they assume you're doing that because of people's skin color. I don't think
I can't be racist. I'm black.
Simon, you are racist.
Simon is not a racist. He can't be a racist. He lives in France.
You're separating two different things. The monologue when I said I don't want to live around black people, that was after Irina Zarutska got shot, and it's true. I mean, they are a largely in this city in Chicago, the South Side, the West Side, huge criminal population, and I don't want to live anywhere near it. And I do. I want to live in a white neighborhood. I think that that's extremely desirable. And I think even black people.
Nick, you're perfectly entitled to that view.
Why are we racist?
But when you have obviously prefaced all this by saying I am a racist, unashamedly
You are
happy,
racist.
then people will assume that all your thought processes about all of these issues
All right, he can't hear you.
to people based on their skin
Ooh.
color, which is the purest
True.
personification of racism.
Oh, it could be
Well,
true.
it's not an aversion. I would say it's the opposite. Yeah, I like my own people. My own people are familiar to me, and I think that's true across the board. I think that people seek out other people that are like themselves, and every other group does this, whether it's blacks, Hispanics, Asians. You know, I get a lot of attacks when I talk about that I'm against interracial marriage. And what's funny is that every other group is against interracial or interethnic marriage. Jews,
But you're the
Chinese,
product of an interracial marriage.
Yeah, I mean, that's debatable. And
Not
also
really.
for the sake of
Not
argument,
really.
sure.
No, you're the product of an interracial marriage, and your father is part Mexican. You're literally,
For the sake of
you're literally
argument,
the
we
very
can say
person you just told me you want to avoid.
What race is Hispanic? Is that a race?
What do you think it is?
I'm asking you, what race is Hispanic?
Hispanic, of course it's a race. It's called Hispanic.
It's a mix between two races. It's a mix between indigenous Americans
It's not
and
white, though, is
Europeans.
it? It's not white.
Well, apparently you're more of a racial purist than me. You got
Oh, really? You just keep saying you're in a white neighborhood. You're literally from a mixed race background yourself. You've literally got Mexican blood.
I know, and I live in a non-white neighborhood too. I'm trying to get out of here, though. But I'm trying to get out. But here's the thing.
Do you have any non-white friends? Genuine question.
Most of my friends are non-white. Most of my friends are not, and non-white people love my show because they respect the honesty.
How many of your friends are black?
Many of them, like at least a dozen.
Wow.
Ye being one who you know, Sneeko being another who you also know.
Yeah. So how do they feel when you say you just want to be away from any black people, walk away from them?
Well, you know what Ye told me? I'll tell you verbatim what he said. That it doesn't come from a place of, and you use the word aversion. That's the first thing I'll actually dispute.
Okay.
It's not an aversion on the basis of skin color, because that would seem to suggest it's like a stubborn, irrational bigotry. I don't consider myself a bigot. I consider myself a racial realist. I'm realistic about how the races are, and I speak provocatively about it, and I speak provocatively about our tribalistic instincts and tendencies as human beings. And I'm not a liberal ideologue that says that over time and with enough education, we're all going to see this great brotherhood where we're colorblind and everybody's the same. You know, I don't think that's ever going away. I think that race is real. It's not just skin deep. It matters to us and it matters to each other. And black people know that, and Hispanics know that, and Asians know that. And I think on that basis, we can have mutual respect and understanding, not aversion based on skin color.
The reason I use the word aversion is you literally said that you should walk the other way if you see black people. That is an aversion to black people based on their skin color.
No, that's called economy of information. That's economy of information. That's safety. And I said in the same monologue, if you watch it, it's like, I feel sorry. The problem is you clip the 10 seconds. I don't know if you watched the whole show, but in that monologue, I said, most black people are not violent or criminals. I said, and it's unfortunate that we're going to offend them when we turn and walk the other way. I said, but the problem is, we don't know. We can't tell. And someone like Irina Zarutska, she sat down in front of a black man with her headphones in and wasn't paying attention because she was being a good liberal and said, I'm not uncomfortable by this. I'm progressive. Then she got stabbed in the neck. And I said, it's unfortunate that you would have to sit behind the black man to be safe. And if he's not violent or schizophrenic, he might be offended by that. I said, but
how many deranged white men have committed atrocious acts of murder in the last 10 years in America?
Proportionally far fewer.
But how many? How many? Do you know how many?
You have a research team. You pull it up.
You're very big. You're obviously extremely exercised by that one story, which was horrific for the record. Absolutely horrific. And should never have happened. The person who perpetrated that evil act had a string of previous offences and should have been picked up more, and it should have been amplified more. I completely concur with all of that. But I just suspect you have no idea how many white people have committed similar crimes, do you?
No,
per capita.
Fewer from experience, because it's like you said. Well, and hang on, and I would add to that, Irina Zarutska wasn't the first one. That was also after Austin Metcalf was killed in Texas.
Sure.
After Carmelo Anthony stabbed him in the neck.
Perpetrated by white people.
Well, hang on, let me finish my point.
You're
In the
implying that white people don't do this. And my point to you, Nick Fuentes, is of course,
Well, I never said white people don't do it.
deranged white people commit heinous acts. But you don't either know.
No disagreement.
You neither know nor care, or maybe both. But
Hello?
you don't care.
Hello?
Only seem to be focused on black people who commit crimes. And again, if you hadn't prefaced the whole debate
Hello?
about racism by openly conceding you are a racist, I can read other connotations into what you've been saying. But once you've said I'm a racist, and then you only talk about black crime, I think people can watch this and they can say, yeah, he's a racist. And everything that he says about crime is driven through the prism of being a racist.
Hello?
To their skin color.
Hello?
Well, it's funny because it's quite on the contrary.
Hello?
And I said this in a similar monologue. The problem is not that I wake up and I walk down the street and I see someone that doesn't look like me and it makes me angry. The problem is there's a pattern of behavior, which we've all seen. Blacks in America have become narcissistic, and they become narcissistic because they've been told they're victims of racism, they're victims of slavery. They've been told, really,